Hindsighters, welcome to Keeping It Real with Miss T, where we give you the real tea with a twist. I am your host, Miss T, and joining me tonight is a phenomenal young lady. She is an entrepreneur and self published author of Ready, Set, Grow. Her next endeavor of becoming a motivational speaker is well in motion as she is inspired and inspiring others to become greater and better than themselves, as well as being a better person for herself in tune of her transformation. This young lady is Desta Greene, and she is here to remind the listeners that you can truly do whatever you set your mind to. And with God, all things are possible. So, hindsighters, get ready to be educated on something you may not know, to be enlightened, and to receive a few positive nuggets from guest Desta Greene. Welcome to the show, Desta.
Thank you. It's such a pleasure.
Absolutely. And I meant to ask you, am I pronouncing your name right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, if you don't mind sharing with the listeners, how did they come about? That's a gorgeous name. I was like, oh wow. And just to hear just read about your positivity and things that you're doing. The word Desta, it's like destiny. And then, last name Green, it's like, ooh, that's money. you know,
Yes, it's
so just
actually crazy you say that because Desta is Ethiopian. It means joy. So I always seek to spread positivity, love, and light. And green, if anyone knows about chakras, green is the heart chakra. So it's just a double right there.
absolutely, it's this totally alignment, right?
Absolutely.
Good stuff. So let's get into it. Ready, set, grow. What and who inspired you to write this inspirational book?
Honestly, my own personal journey inspired me to write this. Now, at the time, I was going through a major spiritual awakening, and honestly, I just felt anyone could benefit from my story. I learned a lot on my spiritual journey, and I was struggling with understanding my purpose. I was just trying to find my niche, and I was going through, you could say, the dark night of the soul, if you know what that is, or if you don't. It's basically uncovering things about yourself that you don't know, getting to the root of any past pain or past trauma, and just working through those things and finding your own truth. The things that I was healing, I just knew anyone could benefit from that. And without the deep healing that I went through, there would be no Ready, Set, Grow.
Mm. Good stuff. And we know that growth is imperative on a
Yes,
daily basis. Absolutely.
yes,
So, you know, and people don't understand that since you talk about ready, set, grow, being able to grow, share the importance of self-care and self-awareness because you speak so much of positivity and just being one with yourself. Share a little bit about your self-care and educate the listeners on having self-awareness and the importance of it.
yes, ma'am. Without awareness of self, a lot of us would stay complacent. And it's vital to anyone's success to be honest with themselves and just understand who they are, who they were before the world got a hold of them. And self-care goes hand in hand, in my opinion, with self-love. So I would say the biggest part of that is how you talk to yourself. Actually, one of my chapters in my book is called Change the Way You Do Yourself. I speak on how important it is to be kind to yourself. It's easy to be understanding, forgiving, and loving when it comes to other people. Yet a lot of the time, the environment we have inside of ourselves is the complete opposite. The foundation that we build within ourselves cultivates healing, and it ultimately allows you to move towards success fearlessly. How I achieve my self-care and self-love is understanding how I feel and being able to sit with myself and be alone. That's big. A lot of people just can't be alone.
Right. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. So, what motivates you?
What motivates me? Growth, progress, and just being able to see the distance between where I came from and where I'm headed. Getting to the highest version of myself motivates me in every single way possible.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we always know that what any time that you're trying to grow, right, and be better within yourself, being a better one before you can be better to anyone in business, relationships, or what have you, it can be a challenge. And we also know that you can't always take everybody with you on your journey. So, what fears have you faced during your journey to be becoming a, better author, a better you, and just, working towards being a motivational speaker? And if there were fears, how do you overcome those?
That is a wonderful question. I have to say 100% the biggest fear was fear of rejection.
Mm,
And one of my business partners actually told me fear creates inaction, and action creates confidence.
mm.
So just getting out of my comfort zone was another major challenge. I wanted big success, but I didn't want to make the big changes that were necessary
Hmm.
to put myself out there and just be okay with being disliked. I overcame by just following through on every promise that I made to myself
Mm.
and growing my connection to God and maintaining that relationship through constant prayer and just communication in general. Because if you are just hung up on what other people are going to think, or, well, if I do this, you'll never start. So that fear of rejection was big for me.
Wow, and yeah, that's definitely tough, and you definitely have to have thick skin because there will
Hmm.
definitely be many doors that shut in your face and many no's. And sometimes those no's are in place to give us a wake-up call, and sometimes those no's are actually necessary because those individuals that tell us no, it's like, well, I probably didn't need to be in your space or work with you anyway. So you kind of did me a favor and taught me a lesson on what I need to do next. So sometimes those no's are
Right.
definitely greater and bigger for you. So let's get into the meat of some other things and talk about you as CEO of your own, is it Luminous Attainment?
Yes,
Is it?
ma'am. That is
Yeah,
correct.
absolutely. So how did that come about? Because and then let's make sure we make this clear as we get deeper on into our conversation and interview this evening. We want the listeners to understand that Ready, Set, Grow has no connection to some of the other things that we're going to mention throughout the evening. So we do want to make sure that we give that disclaimer and state that out there. It's totally separate. So when people will
Yes,
not get
ma'am.
confused. So within that, you as a CEO, and I know that, like you said, you've had challenges and fears and rejection and things of that sort. And we know with that title definitely comes even more, right? Because as you grow, yeah, you're definitely going to have some roadblocks there. So how did Luminous Attainment come about?
It actually came about when I was thinking one night of what my legacy would be. What did I want to leave behind?
Hmm.
And what mark did I want to make on the world? Ultimately, it means achieving enlightenment. And just a fun fact, the hand soap I had at the time was Luminous something else. I think it was Luminous Lavender. And I kept seeing it. I would go to the bathroom and I kept seeing it. I'm like, okay, well, I don't know what I'm trying to get right now, but okay. And it's actually achieving enlightenment because we're all on a spiritual journey. Whether we want to believe that or not, we are truly spiritual beings having a human experience.
Mm.
So as I was trying to come up with an overall business name, after a little wordplay and finally taking heed to that sign of my hand scope, Luminous Attainment was born. That's the truth. My goal is to spark spiritual awakenings within everyone I encounter or anyone who just here's my message overall. My purpose is to break generational curses and shake up old, outdated knowledge and beliefs.
Oh, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. Now, people are probably wondering, well, what is that? So tell us what Luminous Attainment actually is.
Luminous attainment is receiving and achieving enlightenment. So, what I mean by that is ascending within your daily life, your spiritual journey, your beliefs. Luminous attainment is when you see the truth of all things and when it makes sense after you've gone through your spiritual awakening. So I say luminous attainment because that is the end goal, achieving light.
Okay. Now, people may be wondering what type of business Luminous Attainment is, of course. So, where if is it correct to say that it's tarot reading, but it's more in depth than that?
Luminous attainment is actually the umbrella of everything I plan to do. Now, so far, I have only achieved 2 avenues, which is Ready, Set, Grow, and I do tarot readings as well. So both of those resources are a trigger or a spark that you would say to help someone else achieve spiritual enlightenment on their journey. So once I begin public speaking and things like that, the end goal is going to be luminous attainment. So it's just the overall umbrella of everything that I do.
Good stuff. Branding, in other words, which is important, of course. So, well,
Yeah.
let's get into the meat of that, because you mentioned, spiritual growth. You mentioned, God, and all the positivity and the wonderful things that keeps people motivated and ready to grow, right? But we also know there's some opinions, and I will say, as I often say, opinions are like buttholes. Everybody has one, and sometimes they stink. So, so
That
within
is
this,
new.
so within this next question or conversation, we know that it is often a trigger for a lot of people. So, being a Christian and tarot reading, have you received any judgment or questioned by your peers and church members and family and friends when you began to do this? What was that like when you, as a Christian, began on this road of being a tarot reader?
First and foremost, of course I did. Anything that is outside of the norm or anything that disrupts someone else's comfort zone, they make it their business. So actually it boils down to being spiritual versus being religious. Now, to me, religion is like being in a fishbowl. There are limits, there are constraints. A lot of people don't get the answers to a lot of questions because of that religious constraint. And spirituality to me is like being in a vast open ocean. You're more likely to uncover any hidden truths or knowledge that ignite you getting closer to the Creator, you understanding more of why you're here. What does it mean to be a human? What is your passion? And one of my favorite quotes is, "You don't know what you don't know."
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, and then it goes into the point of people think that it's and you can share some of the myths with tarot reading as well, because Christians tend to, and it may have been like in the olden golden days of the Bible in the Old Testament, where people would equate tarot readings as like a work of Satan, or they felt that tarot was a form of divination. From that aspect, if you're knowledgeable to speak to that, state what, if anybody maybe addressed you about it's demonic or deviation and things of that sort. How did you approach that, and how do you clear up those myths and educate those that are ignorant? Because that's the reality of it.
Absolutely. So again, this goes back to the analogy of a fishbowl. And just to add on to that, every aspect of life has an opposite. So any reading that I've ever done, my mission is to bring clarity to you about your life experiences and to help you build your own personal relationship with God, your angel team, and your higher self, so that you can reach your highest potential. Now, yes, there are plenty of people who do the opposite, such as we have the atheists and then we have the believers. To anything, there is an opposite, okay? And normally when you have an objection, you don't have enough information.
Mm-hmm.
So my question, well, not really my question, basically it boils down to, are you using this resource for selfish gain, or are you using it to enlighten, to uplift, and to promote healing? And I mainly got that, and I wouldn't even say backlash. It was just curious from my mom first. I love my mom. Shout out to my mom. She just wanted to. She knows that I'm a curious person. I've always been curious. I'm going to go research to the end of the earth and get the answer. She
Mm-hmm.
knows this, so she just wanted to understand why and what my thought process is with that, just to help her understand. So, I mean, any myth basically is, of course, like you said, is that it's evil, or you don't serve God, or it's witchcraft. So I've
Mm-hmm.
always been spiritually inclined since a very young age. My connection with God, the number one thing that I've always carried with me is question everything and do your own research. Only take what resonates with you. So same as if you believe in your horoscope, or if you check your horoscope, or however you feel about meditation, because a lot of Christians don't believe in meditation. And it's just the knowledge that has been handed down over time, and no one's questioned it. No one has looked into anything. They just accept it as truth. Now, I know this is a lot, so I just want everyone listening to just breathe, bear with me. Is it divination? Absolutely. It is a form of divination, but when we research what divination is, it has three separate definition answers. So A, it's attempting to foretell future events or discover hidden knowledge by occult or supernatural means. B is prophecy, or C is perception by intuition or instinctive foresight. The last is what I do. I have instinctive foresight and I have perception by intuition. I have been intuitively inclined my entire life. Now, if we're talking about receiving information via supernatural means, we can pray and talk to God, and that is a very, very, very basic form of divination as well. And just to add on to that, we are all spiritually inclined. Now, another conversation is how you uncover that and what happened to it. We have people who are clairvoyant, they're clairaudient. You can be prophetic, which is ultimately being psychic. You name it. There are so many spiritual gifts that as humans we naturally have. Now, the way of the world and the food that we eat, the water, fluoride that is basically infused everywhere, that takes a part in calcifying your pineal gland. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot, but ultimately the way of the world is like rigged against our favor in a way, spiritually.
Mm-hmm.
So we all naturally have a gift. There are some people who will say, wow, actually I had a dream about this and now it's happening. Or they had a vision in the moment and then it happened. So we are all spiritually inclined, and we all, in a way, do divination without even knowing it.
Oh, wow. Wow. So, are more people calling themselves witches? And because I know this is actually starting to become a huge topic, because people, there are once again preconceived notions about witches, good, bad, or indifferent, but and they feel like witches are trying to find validation. What do you think of that?
I wouldn't go as far as to say that, but at the same time, I'm not a witch, so I do not know.
Okay.
And
Let's
I
put
have
that
no
clear, right?
idea
Let's
about
clear
this.
that up.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah. So it's honestly, it just goes back. There's an opposite to everything. So, like you said, validation that's it's kind of like a very thin line with that because um, with my research, um, tarot or anything of the sort actually predates Wiccan religion.
Wow.
So it was actually around way, way before that. So somewhere down the line, someone said that it was this, and it just got passed down and passed down and passed down, and it was never questioned. I didn't write the history. I'm just a seeker of truth.
Hmm.
That's all I can say.
Yeah, that's like that telephone game, you used to play as a kid, and sometimes they use in icebreakers and businesses and things where you tell the message and it keeps going down the line. Keeps and as it change, the message changes until you get
Yep.
to the end, and it really never goes to the same. So, that's I love the fact how you answered that. So back to the tarot reading, how does one know? Because it's very interesting. I've had them before, and I just love to hear what discernment comes from the person that's giving it to me, right? So,
hmm
how does one know when a reading is actually accurate or fraudulent?
A reading, how you would know it's accurate is if it resonates with you. And if
Mm-hmm.
what is being told to you fits right within your spirit,
Hmm.
basically. So, and also if it's fraudulent, most of the time you're being told anything that makes you negatively view yourself and others and what's going on. To
Wow.
me, that is fraudulent because at that point they're going to have, or not even have you, they'll just persuade you into doing some type of other activity to get rid of said hex or curse. I don't like using those words because that's not a part of my lifestyle. That's not within my energy field. But that is how you would know. If you don't feel drawn to get a reading, then I wouldn't.
Mm. So it's something you just have to definitely resonate with and have a connection in order to feel that.
Yeah, as far as the information being given, because um, you said you've had a few, right?
Oh yes, actually, yeah, and they've been spot on, and I've truly enjoyed them.
Yeah, so that's how you know. The same with me. So, say any information that you have been given, your just every ounce of your being, every cell in your body is like, I don't know about that.
Right.
Probably not. That's how you know.
Well, so
Because at that point you've paid, and now you're receiving this information as truth. So you'll know within your spirit.
so are you saying that there is no such thing as like a bad reading? We can take the word fraudulent out of it. And it could be that the reading at the time just may not be what you want to hear. Could that be it too? You're just in denial and don't want to hear what's being spoken and given to you. Is that even factual?
That's not what I'm saying. Yes, there can be a bad reading, and honestly, I have personally given not one, maybe a few, anything that truth hurts, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if it resonates with you, then and you know, because I'm not in your head, I'm not in your intuition, I'm not within you. You know whether that's your truth or not, and that's something you just want to deny. Now, if it just absolutely does not resonate in any form or fashion, not even get into denial, that is what I would consider, you could say, bad reading or fraudulent.
Okay, good stuff, good stuff. So now let me ask you this, because I know that as I was telling people about you, I know a person you can never tell anybody so much of your life and things that you do. Are you a singer too?
Yes, thank
Yes.
you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with that, hindsighters, we're going to take just a few seconds break. We're not going anywhere, but I just want to give you a little snippet of something, okay? I will be right back. Hindsighters, welcome back, welcome back. That is none other than our phenomenal guest, Desta Greene, giving us a cover of I Am Ready for Love. I bet you weren't expecting that, were you, Desta?
I was not. You definitely did your research, but I love it because that was me in high school.
Wow, awesome. So yeah, on the YouTube channel, it's at 6 years ago when it was posted.
Yes, yes, that was in
Absolutely.
high
So
school. I would have
yeah.
sent you something better.
Hey, listen, listen. I tell you. So here's the thing about now. You can go ahead and belt out something right now for the listeners. That was just a snippet of. Now, guys, remind you that was 6 years
Mm.
ago. That was 6 years ago. So that just tells you of where her journey originally started, and she didn't give us that in her introduction of who she truly is. So there's so many other facets of Desta that I want you guys to get to know. So whenever we end this is not the end. This is just the beginning. So you have to make sure that you follow her and you just connect with her offline and online, after this interview, because she's a phenomenal young lady, and just listen to that voice. So, hey, you put yourself on the spot. So why don't you go ahead and belt out something? Help yourself. We're ready for you.
Oh man.
You did it. Closed mouths don't get
Uh,
fed. Bring it on.
Let me think. I don't even know.
Take your time.
Um,
All we have is time and energy.
hmm. Let's see. Dang, that's the hardest part, picking
Well,
a song.
you just said, hey, that wasn't even good. I could have sent you something else. But hey, we have you live right here. Think of something. You're ready. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. If you want to think about it and come back.
Let's see. I'm just going to.
And you don't have to
Oh, this
overthink
is
it.
a song I actually wrote.
Oh,
Yeah. So I'll just
even better.
sing that. It's kind of old too, but
It's okay. Listen,
um,
sometimes that old stuff is good stuff, right? And you wrote it, so it doesn't get any better than that.
this is true. I woke up early this morning just to say hello to the world. There are good times come where the night time's fun. I am sometimes fine. I don't know why you bugging. And sometimes we just be loving. And then you flip over something. I just wanna be the only one. Baby, that's all you get.
Okay, well, hey, we'll take it. All right. That's good stuff, good stuff. Now, what inspired that? Because you stated that you wrote that yourself.
Yes, that is actually super, super old. It's not even out anywhere. It's called All In. Eventually, I will be on the music path because that is a natural given talent I have. I kind of wanted to put my ducks in a row
Hmm.
because there are so many facets to myself. You're absolutely right. So that's on the to-do list that will be released and more music also.
Hey,
But
look,
yes,
I'm
it's
super
called All
excited.
In.
Good. Awesome. Well, thank you for that awesome share. So guess what? The great part about that is that you're already on a platform so whenever you do that music, please send it to Hindsight Media Radio 103.5 FM so I can play it for you.
Absolutely. I'll keep that in
Absolutely.
mind.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this because I know it can be tough when others rely on you for advice, mentorship, or guidance. How do you, Desta, stay strong and find a healthy balance without allowing their heavy burdens to weigh heavily on you and to keep that spiritual peace?
Detachment.
Okay.
Detachment is huge, and it's what helps me as an empath because it's easy to carry other another person's problem around as your own.
Mm-hmm.
So when you detach yourself from what they're either telling you, what they're going through, because an empath, they feel every emotion as if they're you. So detaching and also setting boundaries, practicing healthy boundaries. And I say practicing because it does take practice. It allows you to know when and when not to get involved. And some people need an encouraging word. Some people want you to hold their hand. Some people are just energy vampires. So your spiritual discernment will let you know what's the difference, and your detachment and your boundaries will allow you to create a safe space for yourself to not be overtaken or overwhelmed.
Good stuff. Now, we also know the importance of having a vision, writing a vision, and making it plain, right? So,
Yes.
how important is journaling to you, and how often do you journal? Being that you're an author, what motivates you in that aspect to keep you in that writing mindset to avoid writer's block? Because I'm sure we all can get it. Those of us that like to write, what encourages
Yes.
you there?
Absolutely. It's very important to write any and everything down as far as how you feel or any ideas that come up. What we write creates energy, and it comes with energy. So it'll either aid in whatever manifestation as far as the vision you're trying to create, or it'll be counteractive towards it. Now, personally, for writing, I actually talk about that in my book. I didn't write for probably like 3 or 4 months due to just lack of self-confidence, and it wasn't even writer's block, just not even willing to move forward and do anything. So I try to write at least 3 to 4 pages a day. Sometimes I don't even get to three, but I don't beat myself up for that because
Hmm.
it was more than what I had before.
Good
So
stuff.
anything that comes to mind as far as like an idea, as a writer, I have notebooks everywhere. So if it comes, I'm writing it down. Even if I'm not by it, like today, I have some notes written on a napkin because it came to my mind and I had to get it out before I lost it.
Absolutely. Now, what are you grateful for?
I am grateful for my life. That's kind of cheesy, but I am grateful for my life and the opportunity to fulfill my mission of why I'm here on earth.
Okay, complete this sentence. When this pandemic is all over, I will.
Be more blessed than when I came into it.
Doesn't get any better than that, right? Absolutely. So, if there are a few nuggets that you can impart and advice you can impart on the listeners, what would that be?
Trust yourself more
Mm,
and learn to understand how you feel inside. Also, another big thing is dream bigger. Set your sights, standards, your expectations, set them higher. No more playing small. You deserve and you are worth a better version of yourself.
absolutely. Now, we know that you're going to be working towards being a motivational speaker, as well as working on some music, more books possibly, and some other great endeavors. But tell us what else is next for Desta Green.
Motivational slash spiritual public speaking, as far as in churches, schools, anywhere. Book tours. I kind of got pushed back, but eventually put book tours and just the release of my new book is really what I have my sights on. I'm a big reader, so there's a book. It's called The One Thing or One Thing. I can't think of the author right now, but that really set in stone with me. Master one thing at a time. So if you take on too many things, all of those things are not going to be 100%. And then you're going to be mad at yourself because it's not all 100%. So just mastering one thing at a time. I plan to take my direction towards public speaking. That's my next mastery.
Okay, good stuff, good stuff. Now, we all know that it takes a village, right? It takes a
Mhm.
village to get to where you're going. You know, sometimes people say, oh, I don't need anybody. And we also know that it's important to sometimes move in silence and move by yourself. Now, let's not get that misconstrued. It's imperative sometimes that we go into find our closet and go into our own separate hiding space. But oftentimes it is imperative to have that village. So give a shout out to those individuals and say thanks, or just a shout out. You don't have to necessarily thank them, who played a huge part in your success today and your support, your mentors and things of that sort. Now, let's give this disclaimer too. Everybody, when we're put on the spot, often, as you noticed earlier, we may not always remember everybody's name and everybody that helped us on the journey. So please do not charge it to her heart. You can charge it to her mind, but not her heart. She will, if you truly are in her life and you're truly there to support her, you will not be offended if she forgets your name on this platform. Trust me. If you are offended, you might want to revisit where you are positioned in her life, because that's on you. Your problem, not hers.
Oh, thank you. There you go. It's the truth, though.
Absolutely. So go ahead and give some shout outs.
First and foremost, God, of course, and my angel team. My grandmother, she is the closest guardian angel to me. She has helped me a lot, absolutely. And my parents, I love them so, so much. They helped cultivate my creativity and just being able to be myself. That really made a difference in everything that I do. Um, my sister, my inner child, I know that may be kind of strange, but yes, my inner child has got
Absolutely.
me through a lot.
Hmm.
And Abraham Hicks, if you don't know who that is, look her up. She helped me understand that life is what I make it. So if I'm making it hard, it's because I'm making it hard. If I'm making it easy, then that's what it will be. And basically, a lot of help with manifesting your dreams and goals. Yes, a big shout out. That's probably the biggest mentor. And my editor, Jillian Richardson, my cousin, love you cousin, Jaleesa Yancey, she formatted my book for Amazon. So I really appreciate her. It wouldn't look the way it looks in the book if it wasn't for her. And my cover designer, Marquise Ingram. Um, Also, just all of the people who have helped inspire me, and they're nameless, but just putting it into the atmosphere, any inspiration that I have ever received has helped me.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, thank you for that. And so, where can listeners purchase your book, request you as a speaker, and connect with you offline and online?
You can purchase my book on Amazon. If you search my name, Desta Greene, it will come right up. Or you can find it if you follow me on Instagram, which is my name, Desta Greene with an E. It's the link in my bio. For any bookings, it would be luminousattainment@gmail.com via email.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So, any final words before we end tonight?
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time and having me on your platform. Thank everyone in advance for their love and support. And just know we're all on this journey together.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So, listeners, thank you for tuning in tonight. Please remember to visit our website at www.hindsightmediaradio.com and Facebook, Keeping It Real with Miss T. Click, like, and share. Join us next week at 3 a.m., 7 p.m., and 9 p.m., where we give you the real tea with a twist on Hindsight Media Radio 103.5 FM, where there's always something good to talk about. Good night.